In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, it's something else about sex. Let's see what it says. How to define your sexpectations.
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. Let's get ready to humpo.
You're a dork.
That was pretty creative for in the moment. I didn't plan that. Anyway, if you didn't know, now you know, baby. This is the Q Dog in the Moran family studio with my lovely wife, Jeannie.
Hello.
And we are here today to give you a playbook episode. Now, look, if you are new to the program, a playbook episode is something that is going to change your life. I want you to understand that. This is going to change your life. We're going to give you the plan. We're going to give you tips, tools, and resources so you can create that plan for what we used and how we began changing our situation, whatever it is. In this case, it is sexual expectations. You're starting to look at me like you are, huh? What is this look in your eye?
No, I have got so many dirty one-liners running through my head right now. I'm trying to keep them to myself.
You're going to do the
You're
George...
talking about tips, and I'm over here going, oh, this is a horrible time for me to just blurt out just the tip. But it's there. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Say it anyway.
Say it ugly.
And we don't need to clean that one up, baby.
Oh, Lord.
yeah.
Okay. Stop it. People are driving.
So, they're dudes. My voice is not sexy to those dudes. All right, let's do this. This is your episode again. This is your series, and I'm getting to learn a lot about you and what you expect.
I love how I
um,
get the whole series about sex. This is the second time we've done a series about sex, and I think I ran both of them.
No, you did not run the last one or the one before that.
We've done more than one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we have.
We're pretty interested in sex. This is a good thing.
Yes. Lucky me. We are interested in sex.
Dead air, honey. Don't do that.
This coughing thing, when we have more finances, every time you cough in the future, then I'm just going to ask Ashley to break in with, let me clear my throat. But we don't have those tools at this time. So...
Shut up.
Cut that freaking crap out.
Shut
Okay,
up.
enough. Now, let's get into these resources. Let's make this playbook episode.
You're not making the one-liners any easier right now.
Just say them then, because I'm missing this as I normally miss some things. Let's go for it. What do you got?
Well, things that helped us to open our communication and to kind of broaden our horizons on just sex in general was obviously the One Extraordinary Marriage. You listen to their podcast. You listen to Front Row Dads. Front Row Dads introduced us to Kim Amani. So we used podcasts and videos that we found from those three resources to open conversation. Stop it. I'm sorry. We've done a lot of talking today.
Son of a biscuit.
Macaroni and cheese. So anyway, we went back and we use these on long drives. Sometimes Quincy would hear something and text me and say, hey, can you listen to this? I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I don't listen to it. But if it's something that he says is important, then I will. So I would suggest what helped us was finding resources. If you don't know what your expectations are, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for in the bedroom, this kind of stuff helps you. For me, I like to read books. I like to look up information. I literally sat on my phone and I went through some book groups that I'm involved in. I went and asked for recommendations. I'm sorry, baby. And I went to Barnes & Noble and to Amazon, and I researched books with certain topics that I was looking for. I researched toys the same way. And then I found different places that I could purchase them. And So I would suggest if you're looking for things to kind of open your mind and get your thinking going. I mean, you heard us in Quincy's last episode. We talked about fantasies. He wasn't sure if he'd ever had them. And then at the last minute, he's like, wait. I did have them. Remember, I told you about this. So sometimes you need something to kind of jog your thinking and maybe give you some ideas. Some of the ones that we used, again, One Extraordinary Marriage podcast. We used Kim Amani. If you want, what Quincy and I sometimes do is he'll listen and then we'll go watch the video together, just so that we both have an understanding what she's talking about. I promise you there's nothing, it's interesting, but there is nothing overly crazy to look at. She uses fruit for the most part if she's talking about genitalia. So you're safe there if you're trying
Fruit by
to.
the foot. Jeannie,
And you're making it worse. You make me laugh. Stop it.
you got to stop doing this coughing thing.
Stop making me laugh.
Hold it longer.
You first. Okay. The other one, we started planning getaways. So if it's something that you guys aren't really sure about, you're wanting to spend more time together, you're wanting to maybe explore some other things and have these conversations. And I don't know, maybe you're like us and you have a lot of kids, so it's really kind of hard to have these conversations and not have the freedom to speak or to discover. Quincy and I started making a getaway plan, even if it's one night a month and you can only go.
That sounds so bad. We made a getaway plan from our family.
Hey, I'm not even going to lie. It is a run away.
Yes, it is.
If you tell me pack a bag, we're leaving, it takes me literally 20 minutes and I am out.
Yeah.
So
we got
it's-
to get back to Vegas.
But it can even be just, leave the kids with the grandparents and going home and just kind of, for lack of a better word, ditching them with someone else so you can have the privacy to do what you want to do. But if you plan it, I would suggest, start it with what we do is I go shopping for something to wear and we'll look at things that we both like. He'll give me ideas. He'll send me pictures of things. And then I get to choose from those things what I want. Sometimes we'll go toy shopping beforehand. Sometimes we just talk about what do you want to do when we get there? What are some things that you're thinking about? And it just opens the conversation to know and puts you in that mindset. So when you get there, when you get to that point where it's just the two of you, you have the freedom to kind of open up. And you already know, you already know you're having sex. This is a given.
Yeah, I
So-
would say one of the examples is the last time we went away out to Temecula. I had gotten you a massager, that deep tissue massager for your birthday. So we took that with us. And we took that over there with the mindset that we were going to explore this massager, her back, her legs, recently used it on her feet. But, maybe some of these are no agenda and some of these there is an agenda. And you just have to decide what is for you. But that's where you get together with your spouse, unless you're planning on surprising, which I can't tell you is one of the most exciting things. If you plan top to bottom, childcare, meals, support, everything, there's nothing like that. And
Game changer.
yeah, so this stupid pandemic situation, has put a lot of bumps in the road for everybody in every walk of life. But if you can get creative during that, then and moving forward, it'll do nothing but just make your wife feel so freaking special. It made me feel special too when you planned, a 9-day getaway for us.
Yeah, that's something that even if you plan the getaway with just the intention of going and it's not necessarily about getting to the sex part of it. If you do, bonus. But I'm just saying, if you make the plan to go and get away and romance each other and open the door to conversation, that in itself will kind of lead you down the path of wanting to explore or asking questions, and you're away from the norm. So it's a little more comfortable to not have to worry about tomorrow's meal plan or getting kids to school or all these other life expectancies or work. Turn your work phone off and enjoy that time together. One of the things that Quincy and I do on a pretty regular basis actually now is we shop together. And I don't just mean, we go to Costco and we get food. If we're talking about something, or one of us is thinking about introducing something new into the bedroom, we will have a conversation. And I'm kind of one of those curious people. I have a lot of friends that discuss toys and sex and things like that in chat groups, because we're like an author group, and a lot of them write romance. So there's a lot of stuff that comes up from the readers, and it's kind of an open forum conversation. And I will catch something and be like, that kind of intrigues me a little bit, and I'll look it up and I'll bring it up in a conversation with Quincy, or I'll send him a picture and say, what are your thoughts? Now, granted, sending it to him while he's at work is probably not the best place to do it, but if you have something that comes up or something that you're thinking about, find a way to bring it up. Like I said, I'll send him a text picture of Amazon and say, what do you think about this? He'll text me back, and if it's not obviously something we talk about at the moment, he'll just send me back an emoji that lets me know where his thinking is. Usually it's a smiley face or a wolf or something to that effect, but it lets us know we need to talk about this. This is something that I'm thinking about. It's a conversation I'd like us to have. It's a starter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a piques my interest. Can we talk about this? And then we go through the website together, or we go to one of the stores that we use, and we'll look it up together. We'll find out what it is, how it works. Is this something that either one of us would consider? We consider the price of it. Can we find it somewhere else? I mean, there's a lot that goes into the thought process of this. And it sounds kind of like, we're putting too much into it. But at the same time, it's not, when you consider money as one of our areas too. So we have to take that into consideration when we do this stuff too. The other thing that we do, and this is the biggest overall part of everything, okay? You have to agree to give each other permission to talk, to imagine, to explain and discuss anything sexual, and not have to feel like you're being judged. You have to leave that vulnerability and that soft place to land. It has to be a non-negotiable in this scenario. It has to be. And then you need to find a way to bring up, maybe there's an old problem that happened a while back and you want to try and do this again. This is that time when you get away and you have the privacy moment to say, maybe look it up in a video, look it up in one of the podcasts, see if somebody else had the same problem. Mm-hmm. Find out how they dealt with it. If you're purposely putting the effort into planning, having this conversation, this is me, okay? If Quincy comes to me and says, I remember we had this conversation a while back and it didn't go well. And so I listened to a podcast and it came up today and I heard somebody say, this is how they approached it. This is what, they did to kind of combat this issue. Do you think we could maybe talk about this and see what your thoughts are on it? It's all about how you present it. If you just come in and say, I heard this podcast and this person had the same problem you did and they fixed it, so I think we're going to fix this now. It's like, no. How about no? I guess from where we're coming from, this is just a simple, basic, how we got started talking was honestly listening to other people talk and forcing each other to sit through it. Well, not forcing, but asking each other to sit through it and say, what are your thoughts on this topic? What do you think about what they said? Because this is what I'm thinking. And a lot of times, no joke, one of us is going, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. What is your take on this? Because I'm kind of conflicted in what I'm hearing. Not that it's right or wrong, but like we said in our journeys, we have some stuff from way back when that still comes up in conversation. I can use the example of us going back to routine. If that's where you're at, if you're back into a routine of sex and that's a problem and you're not sure how to break it, the first step to breaking it is acknowledging it and letting your spouse know. It's not that I feel like we're not doing anything, but do you feel like we could have more? Because I kind of feel like we should have more.
Yeah.
It's not just coming in and slamming your expectations out. This is what I think we should be doing. Quincy and I had to have this conversation. It's like, I didn't understand why it frustrated me. I didn't understand why a joke pissed me off when we joke like that all the time. Like, it's common for me and Quincy to flirt and talk dirty to each other on a regular basis. We just suck at it in bed for some reason. But when we're joking, it's like really easy for us to make innuendos, and we have no problem throwing them back and forth. But for whatever reason, this particular time, it frustrated me, and come to find out my needs weren't being met, and I had chosen to ignore that because of circumstances and life happening. And I just got used to, it's a fallback, as a default for me to just go, I can address this later. This is not important. But then I forget about it, or I don't notice it again. And by the time I notice it, it becomes a big enough issue that now I'm pissed.
That happens to us a lot, which is once we notice it, it's kind of come to the point of, there's every once in a while when I'll just approach you about something because I'm seeing it, and you'll say, no, I don't think that's it, or whatever. And then when it gets to the point of it, it's like, crap. Okay, here's where we think we went wrong. And just looking back at what we've gone through year after year after year, is a lot of these cycles stem around the busy time in my work schedule.
The kids, because school starts and everything. And this is shifts.
This is the busy season, and it's busier than we've ever seen it. So we didn't take any precautions. It reminds me of the time where COVID hit, and then I was in the work harder mode. Mm-hmm. But we had plans to get out of town, and we didn't make it. And I didn't take a step back and go, wait a minute, if you're not going to get any breaks, you can't just get on this path of work harder, because you don't have that planned downtime. Or there's moments where it's just going to be you and her, and you screwed up. I screwed up. It's like, I did not, when the game changed, I did not change my game plan, and I lost. And that's where these moments come in. We're kind of creating an atmosphere of you being able to identify your awareness of these situations, and then giving you some tools to break the ice. And maybe this comes easy or naturally to you. For us,
it's awkward.
It is awkward. Sitting here thinking about it, it's not awkward to me. If we wanted to just have a conversation about anything sexual, it's not awkward to me anymore. Mm-hmm. There's still some things where it is like, I just don't know if I can tell you that, or if I can say that right now. But that list of things is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because we're, obviously growing in trust some more with one another in our sex life. Mm-hmm. And that helps tremendously when it comes to other areas of our relationship. So it's important to get these things written down, and then try to make this playbook with your wife so that you have a game plan. Guys, how would you like the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with me, the Q Dog, and my wife, Jeannie? That's right, a 30-minute Zoom meeting you can have if you go over to manvsmarriagepodcast.com, become a subscriber. That will enter your name in for a chance to win this exciting contest. Now listen, if you got a homeboy who listens, or maybe he doesn't listen, send him over to manvsmarriagepodcast.com, have him become a subscriber, and that will enter him to win. Then he sends me an email at coach@manvsmarriagepodcast.com, and guess what? That will enter you another time. There is no limit to how many times you can be entered, so go there now to manvsmarriagepodcast.com, become a subscriber, have your friends do the same, and alert me via email, and you could win the MVSM meet and greet via Zoom with Quincy and Jeannie from Man vs. Marriage, the podcast. That's right. I'll see you there. Go get it done. Don't be a slacker. Get to work. Q-Dog is out. I would say, like I said a couple episodes ago, it's I don't know where your relationship, what your dynamics are, if sex is a discussion, if it's on a schedule, or if it's just not something that's happening as often or as frequent or as blissfully as you would like. And if that's the case, these are some conversation starters. Now look, as a guy, you can let your ego get in the way, and if your wife brings something to you, and you might get in the mode of like I was, and like, what, am I not enough for you? Is this a problem? Are you looking to replace me because I'm not satisfying you? And it's like, let your ego go, dude. These are just different. These are different strategies to deepening your connection. That's, in my opinion, that's where it is. And that's just the way it's worked for us. And I am certain that you can look at our example and then strengthen things within your own relationship. So take these things, the resources we've given you, and I believe Kim's last name is Anami, not Amani. But I'll see if producer Ashley can link her in the show notes. And then the One Extraordinary Marriage, if you look at them as a resource, because we have used Tony and Elisa as a resource as well.
They have books, they have toys, they suggest a lot of things, and they have an Amazon. That's
what I was going to say. They have an Amazon page for the stuff, the lube and the toys, and the
Liberator,
the pillows, and some of the contraptions that they use that have been successful for them. So you can check that out, and then look at some of the books. Jeannie's mentioned them. We have Tongue Tied. She Comes First.
Blowing His Mind.
Blowing His Mind.
We have several from Tony and Elisa's.
Tony and Elisa have several books. So those are some resources there that you can use. You have this podcast as a way to break the ice with your spouse. And then toys. That is all going to be left up to your imagination. I'm just going to say, for us, the toy thing is relatively new.
In the last few years, yeah.
Yeah, it's relatively new for us. So we're not any great experts on that. And we're learning more about it and learning,
I think the more we learn about the body and what responses the body can have and how things are connected, that's what kind of sparked our interest in the toys, because there are just some things you cannot hit with the two bodies combined. And sometimes just given the physical dynamics and depending on your size, her size, those types of things, the toys are meant to help. They're just meant to bring another level to what you're experiencing. So it's not a snub to say you're not enough. It's, I wonder what this would be like if we could add a little bit more. Because chances are, and I can't speak to this, but you can, but if I go off a lot stronger, it affects you and how you go off. So it just takes us to a different level. And there is a certain level of, I don't want to say connection, but Quincy and I have had more laughable moments in the nude that no one else will ever experience with us. So these are memories that we bring up at random times, and it just brings us back to a good point. We're, like I said before, we're experiential people. We like to share experiences with each other. We like to make memories with each other. Think of it that way. You're trying to not just enhance your sex life, but this is a memory you're going to take with you. These are things you're going to learn. And I know that some people might not agree with this, but just with Taylor's wedding, that was my thought was, damn, I wish somebody had told us in the beginning what all there was to explore without actually, ruining getting married. Because there were so many things that we thought were taboo or wrong, and maybe it is for some people, but it's your room, your wife, your marriage. It's between you. What's right and wrong is between the two of you
Yeah.
and no one else. But no one gave us that explanation. So when I went to go get stuff for Taylor's wedding, I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not. Buying She Comes First was meant to be Parker's gift because his role as husband, I was like, I want to make sure you know what you're doing. And it was a tease because everything else was for Taylor. The bridal shower was all about the girl. But when I did that, I also stopped and thought, if you and I had had this conversation, or if someone had to explain to us in the beginning, there is so much more to this than what you know. How much further would we have been, and how much more would we have known in all the stress and crap we were going through? Having great sex would have impacted that tremendously for us.
I agree. And just, even going back to what you're saying, there's just some things that body to body, you can't hit. There are changes in your body from when you were 20. There are changes in my body from when I was 20. There are changes in your body because of childbirth. There's changes in my body because of weight loss.
There's going to continue to be changes as we grow older. I mean, just
Right.
the hormonal change changes the way the body works, the way it responds, the way your mentality fits.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects to look at. And if you're not willing to open your mind to making sure there's something there to continue to pull that connection along with you and hopefully get you through the transition of change, I think you're selling yourself short.
Yeah. And I've seen how, some of these Kim and Nami videos help take the pressure off of me and Jeannie.
Oh my gosh, we laugh hysterically at some of them. Not because it's bad, it's just awkward.
It's
and
funny.
then we laugh.
It's funny to hear, but I can listen to things like that and say, "Oh, that makes sense," and then take that and go try it and say, "Well, how did that work?" Because I'm gonna explore
Take
this.
notes.
I'm gonna explore this. I'm gonna see if it works, and if it doesn't work that time, hey, we're gonna try it again. And if it does a little that time or whatever it is,
Practice.
then you and your wife have done nothing except for better your relationship and your connection.
And there are things that have, for us, it's turned out to be just a goofy, silly experience. And we're like, yeah, okay, that's not going to work. But at the same time, it's a laughable moment for us later down the line because it's just a memory of something that was just, yeah, we're not going there again, but that was a great laugh that night. It's.
On the other hand, there are other times where it's like, oh, that worked.
Oh, we've had lots of, that worked.
Yeah, and that's good. And I'll take another.
I will take 100 oh wow moments, please.
Yeah, that's right. So that is just something, you take that, you plan getaways, you do your shopping together, you kind of explore what's going to work for you, what are you interested in. This is straight up to help you break the ice as far as having the conversation with your spouse and then helping you to figure out what your expectations are and what needs you want met for your sex life. And that will do nothing but empower and strengthen and better your relationship. So, and I know it can be scary to do things new. People don't like change, but this is change where the risk, if you just assess the risk, the upside is so valuable and worth it. So go for it. What do you think about that?
I like them apples. How about you?
Girl, I love your apples. I do.
Oh my goodness. Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
Are you sure we're going to do this on video? Because I don't know if this is going to be a good idea.
Yeah, we got to get there. That's right. If you
the podcast, not the sex thing. Don't.
No.
Let's just make sure.
Let's create some
Let's
distinction
clarify.
there. Doing the podcast on video, not sex. That's correct.
I love y'all, but no.
I'm glad you clarified that because I was just getting ready to say if you want to sponsor the studio, and if you didn't clear that up,
yeah, no,
that would be even.
No.
That would be weird.
No.
And it's not for us. So I have no desire. All right, that's it. That is this episode. I know you enjoyed it. I know if you put this plan into action that things are going to change for the better. Is there anything we didn't cover? Anything that you need from us? Coach at manvsmarriagepodcast.com. Or you can just go visit manvsmarriagepodcast.com. All right, that's it. She's Jeannie. I'm Quincy. And this is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.